let me, sorry. Sometimes this network. All right, so we are at this point now, and we have, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so we have our pivot table showing us the staff and the total order generated. Now we need to put this. I was trying to explain the ranking order. Somebody that scored 100 should be 1. Somebody that scored 0 should be the last. Okay, so that's the ranking order. Or you can make it the person that has 100 should have, maybe if you have first to 10, the person that scored 100 should have 10, depending on what you want. So that's exactly what we are looking at here. Now, what we need to do is, I have done this, so let me pick another order. Let me bring this order again. So I have the sum of order here. So right now, I'm going to change this. You know, it's the same thing. Order is order. We can't change this figure, but we can change the labels, the up here. Now, for this one now, I'm going to right-click and then go to my field setting. Now, I want the value to show us. So I'm going to click here. Here, I see no calculation, but I need to open it up. I scroll down. I see my ranking. Now, I'm going to do 2 things. So let me escape from here. I'm going to escape from here right now. Okay, so I'm going to get another order here. It's also to tell you that we can have several of them running here, and you can use any of them to do your calculated field. So I have this order, sum of order, and I have sum of order 2. I want to use it to do 2 different things so that you will understand what to apply when you are applying that. So I'm going to ahead to right click under this one, my value field setting. I'm going to show value as, right here, there's no calculation. So I'm going to open it this and then scroll down to first. Let us use this first one, ranking from smallest to largest. From smallest to largest. So I click this, I okay it. Now let's look at this. From this point, which one is the greatest? I want to, before us to answer that, I want to also give us another option when we are working with numbers, especially things that have to do with currency. I believe we are all Nigerians, so I love the Naira value. So I'm going to click only one point here. I'm going to right click here. I want to bring Naira value there and then put my 1000 separator. That will give me an idea which one is higher. So when I right click here, this comes up, I pick my number format here. Note that I clicked only one cell here, but it's going to apply to the same, all other cells under this column. So I'm clicking number format. This pops up. I'm interested in currency. That's my currency. Now, what is my symbol? I scroll down here to look for Naira. So I have a lot of them here. I say Microsoft seems to like Nigerians. We have several tribes here. Then I am not interested in any decimal place. Let's just use 0. So when I okay this, every one of them comes up. Now I can see that this is the highest. Okay, so 4 million, 4.5 million or 4.6 million Naira is the highest. Remember, we chose small to highest in this ranking order. In this ranking order, what we chose, we did like this. We came here, we chose our value field setting. We came to show value as. Then when we open here, we scroll down to rank smallest to largest. So this is what we did here. Now, what does this tell us? Smallest to largest. Smallest to largest. So we see that this is the smallest, but it's telling us this is the number 1. So it cannot be first. This is the, where is my 4 point something? Is number 5. Now let's do the same thing here. Right click, value, show value, come under here. Right now we are going to choose largest to smallest. We okay this. So you'll now see that the highest here is assigned number 1. What did we choose here? Fit, value field setting, show value as. We screw here, the largest to smallest. The largest to smallest. We are assigning the largest to the smallest. The largest is this, so we assign it to the smallest. Whereas the other one is smallest to largest. So we are assigning this, the smallest, to be the top. So we okay this. Let's go away. Now I need to sort it. Present the staff in ranking order of their total orders. So I need to sort, let me sort from here. So I can now come here and then sort. Jennifer is going to take us through sorting in this session. So I come here, what am I sorting at? Can I sort from smallest to largest? Let's see, smallest to largest. So this is my smallest to largest. Now let me also sort here. Let's set from largest to smallest. Now we have this number 1, which is this. But mind you that this and this, they are linked. So when you sort here, here is also going to change, because we said here from smallest to largest, and here largest to smallest. Okay, so this is one way that we can sort our elements or our entries, our variables in a particular order using my pivot table. All right, so Jennifer, I think we are good to go. Let's entertain that question, and then let's see if we can give them time to do some practice. So what's the question, please?
Okay, so Sabat has a hand raised. So can you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Who? Okay, Tabat. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening.
To follow practically as we're teaching us. So when you told us to click the alt sign, I did, and then the letters came on. But thereafter,
Hello, am I
by the time I click the insert, I progress thereafter. Thank you. You can just help me go back to, after clicking the alt sign, you know, the letters will come up. The different letters came up. So when I wanted to click the insert, the letters disappeared.
Okay. Did you try clicking it, or all that we did with that shortcut is to enter them from your keyboard table?
On the Windows
letters.
Thank you.
Are you okay now? Sorry, Tabat, I didn't quite
Yes,
get
please.
Okay,
you know when you started with this
with the odds.
You was like we should click the insert, but do we click the insert with the alt sign again?
No. You are dealing with the.
I didn't understand.
When you are walking through the shortcut, you are not using your mouse. Everything is on keyboard. You don't click anything. You just type the letters that show. I hope I was able to make a. Did I?
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. You went off.
Okay. I said when you are using the shortcut, you don't use
Okay.
mouse. You only use your keyboard to type those letters. Once you activate the
Okay.
with Alt, you now begin to
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's where I missed it. Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Frederick.
Sure. What's up?
So I noticed that while we were racking the tables for some of other one and some of other two, I noticed that if whatever you do on one table, it will change on the other table. So I'm thinking, is it not because we did not separate the table that was happening, or if they were separated, are we sure that that would have happened?
If you are separating the table, it means you are creating another pivot table. So
Okay.
if we change this order, because this and this are speaking to this, so wherever this one goes, this and this will go.
Okay.
Because they are speaking to the same variable.
The same thing later. It's all right.
Jennifer, do we have any question on the chat box?
All right, so Bala said, okay, there's a comment by Bala before. Roy has answered him. So the second thing Bala said was, but I can't do the practical now. Okay, I think he's speaking with, I think it's a continuation from what he was saying before, that he couldn't understand much. So, but we'll send him the video so that at least he can go through with it and practice more.
Okay.
And then I've done the practical as well.
Okay. Okay, so we ought to have sent these things. So let me just send this. I'm trying to get an updated list of the participants who have registered. So just okay. So I don't know how we are going to do this. It might take me a while because of the problem that I have here over the network. Let me see. Just give me a minute. Let me see if I can send this to everyone who have registered. So I'll just require maybe 2 minutes. Let me get all your emails and then, okay. Just a minute. Okay. Jennifer, I'm sending the one I didn't see the other one, so I'm sending the old one. Was there a significant change?
Okay, I sent it on the same mail trail as in
Okay.
my own workbook. I sent it on the same mail trail.
Okay. Let me just look at that.
Yeah, I changed the the name of the document.
Okay, you change the name.
Yes.
Just a minute. I can't seem to locate that right now. Was there any significant change? I haven't seen that. Can I share the old one? Any significant change? The previous one you shared?
Okay, you can share the old one. I just I effected that suggestion you made, and I changed the name of the file. That's all I did. But everything else is still the same, so it can be used. Or should I share it with you?
Okay. Let me, just a minute. Okay, I think I've seen it.
Okay.
Okay, so EFGH. Havron, eLearning. Okay, just a minute. Let me see what's the title of that one. There's a spreadsheet. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so guys, check your mails for the practice worksheets. And then it will just give us the next 2 minutes to open them. And then just walk through them.
Well, if you don't see it in your inbox, check your spam or junk mail because you may have entered there.
Please, if anyone has received it, let us know so that others can have hope that yes, it will arrive. Okay, so thanks, that's great. Okay, so what we actually would want us to do is what I sent to you. I doubt if it contains this. I'm not sure because I can't remember if I saved. So if it does, fine, just delete or you work your own. Just pick one, two of these questions to summarize, then move to sorting and do that, so on and so forth, so that we can beat time. So Jennifer, please, once it's, we are giving them 10 minutes, I think we have spent 5 minutes. We are giving them 15 minutes, we have spent 5 minutes. So let's, in 9:20.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you are working on the one that we just finished, Introduction to Pivot Tables, please. Sorry. Then navigate to the pivot table Any of them actually has that particular table. So just navigate to maybe the summarize. To summarize, look for the sheet to summarize, and then you can work with that. Hello, we seem to be having some complaints. What we wanted you to do is to practice what we have just gone through. We have just two uses of pivot table: to summarize and to sort. And you have the pivot table file, which we use to demonstrate. So what we want you to do is navigate to the table, to the worksheet. Navigate to the worksheet where you have to summarize here. Then try to use this table here, insert a pivot table, and then use the pivot table to answer this. So now we said, just try to do one or two. And then after that, you now do the sorting. Still the same table, you can use it to do, or you go to sort and attempt what we did. Tebad, you say you need audio, you want to ask question. Okay, so let me, just a minute. So you can unmute, please.
Okay. Sorry, what I was just trying to say is that it would have been easier for us to probably it to be like like an assignment, because it's I can't seem to remember some of the things. I don't know whether I'm speaking for just myself. No.
It's my network. I can't seem to hear her.
I think this time it's her network. She went off.
Okay. So Teba, can you come again, please? Hello, Tebat. Jennifer, did you get what she was saying?
Yeah, so I think she was saying that that they have forgotten, she has forgotten like some of the things that we explained, that she feels it would be better if it was an assignment, take home assignment that she can hear the audio and practice what she,
Okay.
and practicing the template, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I got, I don't know, I got zoomed out. I just connected back now.
Okay. Okay, so you were saying that you would prefer if this is given as an assignment and you can listen to the audio, right? That you can follow.
Yes, so that we can, it's easier to follow that way than trying to remember all that you said and trying to practicalize on it.
What we will do is we have some recordings on the different uses of Excel, about 5 of them. So we are going to share that immediately after the session, so that because this one recording, I'm not sure it will be ready early.
It will take a while, yes. Yeah.
Because we need to convert, we need to do some to be able to transmit it via social media or even mail. So we will share the pivot table uses for, I think we have for all of them, to summarize,
Okay.
to filter, and so on and so forth. So
That would be good.
you go through that, then we'll be able to discuss further when you have read, gone through them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So does that speak for everyone, please? Okay, so hello, go ahead and speak, please.
I said yes. I think that's
That's okay, right?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
responding in the chat box saying yes.
Okay. So that's lovely. We'll share the videos. All right, so I just need to take one more this thing before Jennifer takes over. So, you know, when you are faced with data to analyze, you want to be sure that your data is accurate. And with Excel, the slightest difference in data elements that you entered will alter what Excel will use in the analysis. What I mean is, for instance, if I have these regiments here and somebody writes TDF, forget about, okay, let me see, TDF / DTG / 3TC. If somebody enters this as the regiment, probably the person is coming from either a country or a state or a facility where this regiment is written like this instead of like this. You will see that these two, they mean the same thing, but Excel is seeing them differently. Excel will also see this thing differently from this. But we human beings, we know that they are speaking, whoever enters this is speaking about this, and whoever enters this is also speaking about this and this. So for us to do analysis, we need to be sure that there is uniformity in the definition of our entries. Now that's what data validation helps us to do. So for this evening, I would just briefly discuss on the data validation tools that we have in Excel. What this helps you to do is use it to define the entry that you want your people, assuming you are developing a tool and you want them to restrict them to some specific entries. You don't want anybody to enter this when he actually means this. You don't want somebody to be in a hurry and say, these people, they have come again with their wahala. Let me just write this thing. After all, they understand it's TLD. But you want one of them to use the same. So we need to do data validation, and then we restrict them to a list. So right now, I'm going to perform some things here that will help us understand that very well. Now, I have all these. These are my headers. And then I have this. So if we are going to enter a state, for instance, now, let me look at this facility, say 1, okay? So let's just get about 3 facilities here. We want to enter their details. So here we have their state. Here we have the local government that the LGA. Then next is what is the predominant regimen that they have there. So what we need to do is, you don't want anybody to, instead of writing Benue, the person just writes and expects you to know, or somebody makes a mistake and writes this. We know that this, visually, you will see that the person wants to write Benue, but it's a mistake. If the person writes this and you know it's Benue, when you are counting, by visual aid, you know this is supposed to count into the Benway, but the Excel will not count this among the Benway entries because it does not, it's not the same thing as Benway. So you want to restrict them. Now, what do? We need to create a list for them to be entering. Now, I'm going to select these three. There could be several other facilities that you are using. So what we do, we come to our data tab here, and then we click here. Well, this is our data validation feature. Here, by default, every cell in Excel accepts any value. So I am going to restrict and say, we need lists. So, but just look at all this. These are the various validation that you can apply. You can restrict and say, no, I want only, okay, so this whole number, and then you can define between what and what, or not between what and what, or equals to what, or not equals to what. The whole number should be greater than what. You define what you want so that when they make the entry, it is wrong. Now, for the purpose of what we are doing, let's just work on lists. Now, what is the source of your list? There are different ways you can identify your source. Now, for instance, we are looking at Benway. We are looking at states. So we are working with 3 states as an example. So I can come here and simply write them Benway. This is the first one. I separate it with a comma. Then I write FCT. I separate it with a comma. Then the next one is Abia. And when I am done, the moment I click here, I will see an icon here for drop down. So I click here, it appears. So anything I open here, this Benway, all the things that I've entered are there. So I can choose this, I can choose this, I can choose this. Now, assuming somebody say, okay, me, I'm coming from Plateau, and then he decided to write Plateau. Oh, this is the spelling of Plateau. And he said, this does not match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. You continue trying again, you see the same thing. You say, okay, maybe they don't want me to write it in full. Let me write it like this, PL, same thing, until you get to choose. Now, I want to tell us something here about this, the setting here. Now, I'm going to, let me use only this particular one. Let me go back to this data validation. Now, let's see the error. The error style. Assuming I say warning, I'm applying this warning error here in facility 3. I okay it. Now, I open here, those values are still there, those options are still here. But rather than, I still say, let me write Plateau. Is it like this? Okay, Plateau. You see now, this is giving me a warning. This value does not match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. Do you want to continue? If I say yes, it will accept it. But here, the error value that we inserted here is stop. So it does not accept it. It will not accept anything again. So I just want us to know these 2 things. All right, so now, the next thing I want us to look at is how else can we define our source? You remember that here, we just simply came here and typed them. We came here and typed our source here. We typed them. However, I'm going to use a different system, and that is renaming my list or array or reference range. Now, my states, they are all here, so I select all of them. Here, I'm going to click here to rename it. Now, assuming I am renaming it as Zoom. Zoom state, sorry, it will not accept space. Zoom states. I enter. This is Zoom states. Now, when I click here now and go back to this point, rather than having this list here, writing them by myself, I can simply say this is equals to Zoom states. I hope I made, did I put S? Okay, let me remove, I want to make a mistake so that we'll see what's going to happen. I say Zoom start, thinking that I have completed my, and then when I, the name range you specified cannot be found. Now, Excel has a database in the name memory. So it has gone there to check the database in the name memory, in its memory. It did not find it. So let me see if I put E to solve it. It doesn't solve it because I think there should be an S. So if I put S, it has accepted it. And then here will still give me those values. So if I go here to check the source, I click here, it's telling me Zoom state. Let me exit here. What about here is this. So it's either I type it or I create this kind of list. Now, if you are working in a project where you need to have a list that is very long, for instance, I've had to work with the 36 plus 1 states. I do not have to be typing all those states. I just need to give it a range from Abia down to Zamfara. And then I give it a name, simple state. And then when I go to this point, I give it date, the state, and then it selects that for me. So these are two different ways that you can do your referencing. So what I'm going to do right now is I have decided to put for each of these states, their local government. So here, I'm going to name this as Benue. So let me write Benue here, enter. Here, I'm writing FCT, enter. Here, I'm going to write Abia, enter. Now, what I am going to take us through again is independent drop-down. Independent drop-down. I want people to, when they here is empty, I want options here such that the options that will be available here will be based on what we have here. So I am going to, let me put this, okay, let me start from this font. I'm going to click here. I'm going to restrict to a list. So it's not asking me what is the source. My source is going to be equals to, and I'm going to use a function of Excel called indirect. So I'm going to type indirect, open my bracket, and I'm going to click this. Now, because I want to draw this thing down, I'm going to unlock this. So I have locked that. I'm making reference to this E8. It's going to tell me that the source currently evaluates to an error. Do I want to continue? The reason why it's telling me now is that there is no selection here. So it's not seeing anything here. Because I know there is nothing here, I will ask it to go ahead. So I okay this and it goes off. You see there is a drop down icon here, but it's not opening up. Now guess see what's going to happen. When I click here, I click Benue. Here now opens up to, let me see. We should have, okay, let me look at name database. Yes, we have Benue. Let me see Benue, FCT, Abia, okay? So why is this not, let me see, FCT. Okay, let me look at what the issue is. That's my data here, indirect. Okay, see, we made an error here. This is D instead of E. Okay, so let me, E, it's supposed to be E. All right, so whatever we choose here is going to show this. So these are the 3 local governments that we have for FCT. Now, assuming we had Benue here, the local governments have changed to reflect what we have under Benue. If I come here and I choose Abia, it's going to show me those local governments under Abia. This way, I am restricting everybody who is making entry here to choose what I have defined. It will help me to apply my sum if, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I think we have a video on this also. I'll be sharing that with us. Okay, so I would like to call on Jennifer to carry on from here. You do your own practice using maybe this regimen and some other elements that you may want to develop. All right, so let's see if do we have any question here? Let's take the first 2 minutes to find out if we have questions. Otherwise, Jennifer will have to take over. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Samson. Okay, so if you have any questions, please raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat box.
Hello. Hello, can I say something?
Yes, can you go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for your presentation, Mrs. Sampson. Although I was off and on due to network issues, I just want to find out, I've received 2 mails and I think those are for practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what I received mails, okay. I must be honest with you. The few minutes I've spent
Hello?
I have learned something. So get shady and then revert to the practice. And I believe.
Sorry, Kanu, can you come again? I didn't quite get that. Maybe my network was a bit shaky. I didn't get that.
I believe that before tomorrow, so on the same page. Yes. So also use the opportunity to remind you that.
Hello, Jennifer, can you hear her? Can you hear him?
Yes, hi. So I think his network was a bit shaky.
Yeah,
So
I'm back now. Can you hear me?
okay.
I'm back now.
Yes, welcome back.
Okay, so, thank you. My network is shaky actually.
So
sorry. Shaky, sorry.
Kanu, can you that your comment or your question through the chat box? I didn't get that, so that we can attend to it very well. Please.
Okay, it's not a question per se. It was just a comment, and
Okay.
basically, at the end of that, I wanted to plead that please, it will do us a whole lot of good if we receive the video for today's class as soon as possible. So we could go over it again and then revert to the practice files in the mail and practice accordingly, so that by tomorrow we should be at the same level with you. Yes.
Okay,
So
we'll do
that's
our
just
best.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So well done.
Okay, Jennifer, I think you can take the stage.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so we've had an intensive first round with Samson. Hopefully we still have energy for this segment. Hopefully, I don't want to take too much time or too much of your time. So I would like to pass on the most information using the shortest amount of time. Hopefully that works pretty well. So I have here on my screen, sorry, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, your screen is up.
Okay, fine. So I have here some functions that I'm going to be taking some topics. So the first three tabs are logic functions, while this one is VLOOKUP, and then there is filtering and sorting that Samson mentioned I will take earlier. So let's look at the first function. This is a logic function. There's several other logic functions in Excel, but this is one that I know it's used a lot. So it's the if function. And I have here a definition for the if function. It says the if function is one of the most popular functions in Excel, and it allows you to make logical comparisons between a value and what you expect. So if a statement can, so an if statement can have two results. The first result is if your comparison is true. Excuse me. The second is if your comparison is false. So likewise in English, when we use the word if, we give ourselves two conditions. If what the condition we're giving comes true, this will happen. And if it doesn't come true, that will happen. So in Excel, there are different kinds of if functions. There is the if function, there's the if and function, if or, there is the if error, and then there's if NA. So, and I have like different examples which I will use to explain each one. Okay, so let's look at the first three, the if and if or. So I have an example here. Okay, so the first, and I have three different tables to do the example. So I'm going to do only two, while I'll leave the third one for you to work with, but I'll still explain what it is. So now for the if function to work, you have to have a predefined condition, something that you have to tell Excel that, Excel, look at this for me, and if the conditions are met, it gave me my value for the true. And then if they're not met, give my value for the false. So you can have, your response could be a yes, no, up, down, big, small, whatever you want it to be, but it can be like two different opposites. So in this my example I have here, I have the condition I'm giving is if the student does well in the test, that is if the student passes, and the pass mark I have put here is 50. So if the student gets 50 and above, I will get a car for the student. So for this, in this first example, I only have one condition, that is if the student passes the exam. In the second example, I have the student has to pass like some subjects. The student must pass physics, mathematics, and chemistry before I give the student a car. So if the student fails one of them, I will not give the student a car. While the OR function is if the student passes one or two, or 3 of them, I will get the student a car. So the student may not necessarily pass all of them to get a car for the third option. So how to do if you want to enter a formula in Excel, because Excel is different from Microsoft Word. Even though yes, you can type everything you want, like anything here. It doesn't make sense to Excel. This is just what you can do in Microsoft Word. So to differentiate an Excel from Microsoft Word is you have to start each formula with equals to sign. Now this prompts Excel to know that okay, the next thing you're typing is a formula that you want it to do to calculate what you want. So to do the if function, you first type if, and you're seeing the different types of if that appear. I mean, in Excel, if you type the first letter, you see all the examples, all the different formulas that you can apply to what you want it to do. So for this case now, we're doing the if function. So I'm typing if. You can either press open brackets, but I prefer to use my tab button. So if you look at your keyboard, on the far left, you see the tab button, which is next to the letter Q. So tab is just also opens up the bracket and prompts Excel and for you to do the next steps. And I think in the newer versions of Excel, I don't know if anyone has a very old version of Excel. Excel tells you what to do. It's only giving you hints for what you should do. So that means my logic tests. So what I want, my logic test is if this value here, because this is the score the value, this is the score the student has for the exam. If this value is greater than or equals to this, the student will get a car. If not, the student will not get a car. So how I can do that mathematically is I say it was if, open bracket, this, okay, is greater than or equals to this value. Oh, sorry, first, let me do it a different way. If it's greater than or equals to 50, my value which is true is yes. Now, Excel, when we're working in the formula in Excel, Excel doesn't recognize texts. It cannot calculate text. So what you need to do is, if you want to enter a word in a formula like this, you need to put it in quotation marks, so that Excel understands that this is a word you want to use. It's not part of the formula, because if you don't do that, you get confused and I'll tell you that there's an error somewhere and it will not compute. So as you can see, the first example, we found out that this person scored, sorry, Samson scored 42. So Samson will not get a car because he did not meet the pass mark. Another way of doing this is if you make absolute reference into a particular cell, and it's actually much easier. It's actually more appropriate because if you decide to change the pass mark here, but assuming everyone did very well in the exam, you wouldn't want to start typing, and you have like 1,000 students to work with. You wouldn't want to start typing this again for 1,000 students. All you need to do is make a reference to a particular cell, and once you change the value in this cell, everything else would fall in line based on what you type here. So I'll show you how that's done. So if first type equals to if, press tab, this cell is greater than or equals to this. Now, if I continue with my formula, when I drag the formula down to the end of the table, this value here will shift as my formula is moving down. So in order to prevent that from happening, we need to make absolute reference to this. So then first of all, show you what happens if you don't make absolute reference to a particular cell. So enter my life is true. So for this first one, it's correct because it's I'm making reference to this cell, J4. So now when I drag my formula down, let me show you what happens. So in this case, you're seeing 40 and we said yes. How is that possible? But what if you check the formula, it's making reference to this empty cell because we didn't make absolute reference to this particular cell. So if you check further down, like I check here, it's making reference to this cell. So in order to prevent this from happening, what we need to do is to make sure your formula to make absolutely reference to this cell. So by doing that, I need to first of all start my formula again. Was if this cell is greater than or equals to this cell. So to make an absolute reference, depending on the kind of keyboard you have, like on my own right now, I'll need to press my Alt button and F4. Now the F4 is on the top row of your keyboard. It's, if you look at your keyboard, it's maybe different for other people. You see F1, F2, F3, F4 written like in small text. So that's the function button you to press. So if you look for, you see F4, click on it, you press it. So some keyboards you may need to press the Alt button to activate the F4. Some of them you can just press the F4 and it works directly. So you need to familiarize your own type of keyboard. For my own, since my own the function keys are white, I'll need to press the Alt button. But I think if they are blue, you can just directly press it like that. But I'm not sure. So, but you need to experiment with your own keyboard to find out what applies to you. So, sorry, please. Okay. Okay, so. Sorry, did I say Alt? I meant function. Not the Alt button. You need to press the function button. The function button is the FN button next to the control button. Pardon me. So function. So if once I did that, I press my function and F4, you can see the dollar signs that appeared in between the letter and the number. So this means that as I move down my formula, it's completely fixed, and that's cell J4. Then let me complete my formula. And I press enter. So now let me drag this all down. Okay, so let's check what we have done. So the first one does not get a car because he scored less than 50, our pass mark. Jane gets a car, she scored more than 50. Roy and Jennifer don't get cars. Michael gets a car, etc., and you can see the rest. So now let's check in the formula. If you check the formula on this one, you can see that we're making absolute reference to this particular cell, which is good. Let's check this one over here. It's also making absolute reference to this one. So remember, if you're making a reference to a particular cell, you need to ensure you get these dollar signs to be fixed at the correct places so that your formula doesn't shift as you're shifting down and giving you wrong results. So this is for the if function. You have one criteria and you can get 2 responses from it. So let's move on to the other one, the other functions. So the if and function. Sorry, let me give some values to this. So in giving random values, I'm using the rand between function. So it gives me random values between a range I want to use. So it can be between, I want to select random numbers between 30, that's my bottom number should be 30. My highest number should be 70. Okay. So once I do that, close the bracket. Closing the bracket means that you have finished your formula. So, and I'm going to drag this around my box so that I can get different values. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now I have randomly selected numbers that I want to work with. Okay. So let me copy and paste this on the other side as well. Sorry, please. Let me just do this quickly. Okay. So now these are the scores for the students who did physics, mathematics, English, and chemistry. So now the condition in this case is the student must pass each of these tests before he gets a car. So for example, actually in this case nobody gets a car, but let's still do the formula. How we do this is we still use the if function. So I first type equals to if, then I press tab. The difference here is that I need to add another function to it. So I need to type and press tab. So now it's asking me to select my first logic. And when using the if and the if or function, you can have a lot of logics. You can have 1,000 logics if you so wish to. And if your criteria or your condition meets all those logics, it passes, or it does is true. If it doesn't, it's false. So my first logic is if this is is greater than or equals to this, I need to do absolute referencing, press the comma. So once you press comma, it goes to the second logic. Again, I select this, greater than or equals to this, absolute referencing. So once you're done selecting all your logics, you close it by closing a bracket. Just like when we're doing mathematics, when you want to make the formula start calculating from a particular place, you put your values in a bracket. So that's the formula starts from there. Likewise, we're putting all our formulas in the bracket. So this is everything that is here is a logic that Excel is supposed to read through. So it's supposed to have like this physics score will be equal to greater than 50. For mathematics, will be greater than 50. Chemistry and English, each of them will be greater than 50. For it to equal to yes, and if it's not true, it should be a no. So dragging this down, you notice that nobody is to get a car because not everyone passed or got above 50 in each subject. So I can tweak this a bit. I can actually change this value here. So let's see, let me change the value and see if it can give me a different response. So if I change this to 40 now, notice that some of the cells changed because of the new condition I put. This is what I was explaining to you, that if you use the absolute referencing and you have 1,000 students to work with, you don't need to type your formula each time. You can just change your reference cell here and your formula is updated. So now for this second example, Samson will get a car because he scored 42 and 42 is greater than 40. He scored 60, 49 and 52 and they're all greater than 40. So it means that yes, Samson will get a car in this condition. And there's still those people who get no because, for example, here, Jane scored 35 in English and 35 is less than 40. So she will not get a car because she doesn't meet that condition. So with the if or has similar, it works the same way as the if and. You would actually use the same logic in typing the formula where you make absolute referencing to each of the values. But the only difference is here that has a and, you need to type an or instead. And if you do that, you actually have more people getting a car because it's if they pass any of the subjects, they're entitled to getting a car. So this is for your if function. Do we have any questions? Samson, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. No question from the chat box yet.
Okay.
Not for now, not for now, not for now.
Okay. All right. So definitely with practicing, you get to know it more. And if you experience any challenges, you can still reach out to us. So, okay. So if there's no question, let me move on to the next one, that's if error. So if error, right, it's in Excel we have different kinds of errors that that may occur. So these are just some that I highlighted. There is anytime you see this, it means that you're dividing by 0. And you cannot divide, in mathematics, you cannot divide anything by 0. It's illogical. So it just highlights that, okay, what you're dividing is, you're dividing something by 0. That's why it highlights it. Hashtag value is when someone enters something that's not a number, but it's a text. Like, for example, when you want to write 10, some people instead of writing 1 and 0, some will basically type 1 and O. And when you look at it at a glance, you may think it's 10, but when Excel looks at it, it doesn't understand. It's not a number, so it's to say, oh, that it's an error value. Ref and hashtag NA, these ones work together. I know I've seen them in VLOOKUP, and we'll look at VLOOKUP also. So I may actually show you a scenario where ref comes on. So the hashtag reference means the reference cell is not the reference cell. What you're looking for is outside the reference cell, and it brings an invalid message. This num, it occurs when you have like a function that is not possible. Like, for example, finding the square root of a negative number is not possible. You can find the square root of a positive number, but if you're to find the square root of a negative number, it's not possible. So Excel prompt you say, oh, the number, something's wrong with the number. And this NA is, if it's not available, if the reference cell is not available in your range, it gives you that NA message. So we have like if error, which is used to rectify this. If for example, if the error is not due by the typographical error which you can rectify, and it's actually the data that you received that time, you can't do much about it. Like if you had a training and you did a pre-test and a post-test, and then you have to find out the percentage improvement. The formula will be what the new value minus the old value divided by the old value. So that is, if the person scored, let's say the person scored in the pre-test, the person scored 10, and then in the post-test, it scores 70. So the percentage improvement would be 60 was 60 divided by 10, right? Because the difference between these two and divided by the old value, that'll give us the how percentage increase. So this is supposed to be is that correct? So assuming the person had scored 0 in the pre-test and then scored 70 in the post-test, if you're to do that calculation, you have an error message because you cannot divide a value by 0. So that's where you can rectify. So to use if error, you can actually rectify those mistakes. So I have 2 different examples here of error messages that may occur. So I have a scenario and I have like some mangoes which I want to give to children. So I'd like to know how many mangoes does each child get? So to do that, I'll need to divide the mangoes by the number of children. So for the first case, since there are 50 mangoes and there are 5 children, each child will get 10 mangoes. But as I drag this down, I notice that I'm seeing error messages here, here, and here. This is because the 0 is here. There were no children to receive the mangoes, and Excel cannot compute this. So it's giving you an error message. So to resolve this kind of message, what you need to do is to tell Excel what it should do when it sees an error message. So to do that, first they type equals to, then type if. Now, to bring out all the ifs that are possible. So I wanted to work with if error. I can just press my arrow down. Once you see the word highlighted, you can press tab and automatically Excel selects the particular formula you want and opens up the brackets. So now it's asking me to choose a value. So the value I wanted to choose is the difference between, the quotient of 50 and 5. So I need to put the formula into my value because once I do the division, I'm supposed to get a value. That's the answer. So I type select 50 and 5. Then I press comma. So once I press comma, it means I'm done with selecting my value. Now, in value if error, you can actually tell Excel different things to do if it is an error message. You can tell Excel to return 0, you can tell Excel to return a blank, or you can say no children were available or no children were around. So I'm going to demonstrate with these 3 examples. So first of all, I'll say if there's an error, return 0. Then I press enter. So the first one, there's no error in it, so it's giving the correct value. As I drag this down, you notice the places where I had those error messages now have 0 because I told Excel, if there's an error message in the formula, return 0. So it looks more tidy. It somehow gives a bit more sense to the data, but it wouldn't really make sense to someone like, let's say someone that actually gave you mangoes to deliver and then the person is asking you to put the data together and it's saying 0 here. It doesn't make sense to me. What would make sense is if I actually told Excel something else to say like in brackets, no children around, no children were present. I remember I said when you're working with a formula and you want to insert a text, you need to put it in quotation. So you can say type this, no children present. So as I drag this down, you see no children present will appear here. So now as the person, someone looking at this will understand, say, okay, since there were no children present here, we didn't share the mangoes in this area. So that is just this. So here, likewise, you can actually practice with this and still use the same logic to resolve this if error message. Okay. So if NA is also a for resolving error messages, just that it only resolves messages that has hashtag not applicable error. So if error is for all types of error, whether it is any of these ones or other errors, including NA, hashtag NA, not applicable. But hashtag NA, it's always in existence only in the 2013 versions, and it works only for any error. So it may not work on this place. So even if I type if NA here, and I drag this down, it won't work because it's not looking for that. It's not seeing the hashtag NA error, so it's not functional in this case. So it's only if error that can work for all types of error, but hashtag NA, if NA works only for NA error. So I'm going to take this particular segment when I'm looking at the VLOOKUP, because it's mainly, I know its application can be with VLOOKUP. Okay. So this is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP simply means vertically look up something. So so when in VLOOKUP, it's like Excel to look for a particular value, like you can have a starting point, and tell Excel, look from this particular column I'm starting, look vertically in these columns and return to me the value in a particular column. So that means my table has to define, the table I select has to define, that's my table array has to define which column I am looking at. Sorry, are people still here? I know we're talking plenty. Hello?
Yes, you are. We are here.
Okay, fine. So if you have any questions, please you can raise your hand or drop the questions in the chat box and I will stop and answer them. But in the meantime, let me just go through. So, okay, so like I was saying, you can have the table array defines what your column numbers should be. So I'm going to ignore this serial number because I don't need to use it. But I want to select some states here, or basically I can select all the states. Just want to copy everything. So how I'm going to copy this is I'll press my Shift and Control button and press my arrow down. I've highlighted everything at once. Control C, and then I'm going to paste it here. Control V. Okay. So that's how I copied and pasting. So now I want to look for these names in this table. I wanted to bring out, let's say, number of ADR forms. So this is a table that it just has the states of the countries, it has facility names, and it's checking if the facilities do document address drop reactions. So this column here now tells us whether how many they documented in the last quarter. So since what I'm looking for is the state name, the state name will define the starting point where the table should start from. So that becomes column 1. The next column is column 2. So I'm going to just drag this number across so that it helps me to identify the column. So this number is not actually enter the formula, but it helps you to know what column number to select when you're doing the VLOOKUP. So since I want to obtain the number of ADR reports in the last quarter, I'm looking at column 7. Okay. So start my VLOOKUP formula. I type equals to VLOOKUP, VL, so it shows VLOOKUP. And it's telling me to look, what's my lookup value? I want VLOOKUP to look for Akwa Ibom, right? And the table array is this table. I remember we're not selecting from serial number because what I'm looking for is not in this column, it's in actually this column. So it doesn't matter whether you select from here or from here, it's still the same thing. It's because it's not looking at the, it's not looking horizontally, it's looking vertically at, it's not looking like horizontal, it's not looking like horizontally at the different rows. It's looking vertically, so it doesn't matter at which point I put my cursor because all I'm looking for is Akwa Ibom or the state name. So I go across like this and then take it down. So what I just did is selected my whole table. Once I'm done with that, I press comma and it's telling me my column index number. So column index number, I remember I said I'm selecting column number 7. So I type in 7 directly. And then since I want the exact match, I want it to have the exact number that's here, I need to select false. So true is applied. The application for true is for something else, an approximate match, where you would like to see values that fall in a particular range. You have the approximate match. And then also for the exact match, you have to select false. So I'm selecting false. I start, then I close brackets. I press enter. So I drag this, I can drag this all down. Sorry, yes, I can drag this all down. Okay, splendid. So you can think that, okay, yeah, this is just a mirror image of this cell. What special thing did I do, you know, here? So, but if you look at it, what I did was, if I change any of these names, for example, if I change this to Katina, okay, this will change as well to Katina. So what Excel just doing is looking for this word, wherever this name appears, and it's bringing out what this value is. So if it appears 10 times in this place, it will bring out the same value 10 times. To bring out this value 10 times. So it's looking vertically to select the value in the cell the reference cell I gave it to select from. So that's for VLOOKUP. So remember, as we were dragging down, I noticed this NA error. So this NA error is looking for this particular cell. Oh wow, I made a mistake. Can you imagine? I did not fix my table. So as my formula was going down, the table was moving down with me. So if I double click here, you see the table has shifted down. So which is quite wrong of me. So what I needed to do was to actually give absolute reference. So to do that, I need to select all this and then function and F4. Then this will give me the perfect result. So now in this situation, it's looking for this blank cell in this place and it's not finding it. That's why it's bringing out the NA error. So to resolve this error, I can simply delete it, but assuming that I had like other names here, like I had Washington, Miami, Ghana, Nigeria. Okay. So if I had like other name, Washington is not available in the table which I'm looking for. So it's not giving me a value. So to resolve this hashtag NA error, I will need to insert it into the formula. So first I'll start with equals to if NA, then my value becomes my VLOOKUP formula. VLOOKUP in my reference cell. Making reference to column 7, false. And I need to absolute reference this cell. Okay. Right, I'm using parentheses. Okay, so the formula is not complete. So now I've already done my VLOOKUP. So, but I've not satisfied the NA. So if Excel observes an error, what should be the resolution message? I can tell Excel that if it observes an error, I would like it to say state not found. Then I drag this all down. And voila, you can see it's on the hashtag NA. This is gives more clarity that this state was not found in my table array. So that's why it has this NA message. Any questions so far?
No questions so far on the chat box.
No questions. Okay. I think I've lost everybody somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So should we continue?
Let's give what else? Okay, we need the sorting, right?
Yes, that's just the last one.
To continue. Let's see. Let's get the feedback from them.
Everybody, yeah.
Any questions?
Should we continue?
Okay, let's give it a shot. You can go ahead.
Okay. So okay, so this is just about VLOOKUP. I've explained VLOOKUP and also how to use the NA error. So there's the other part of VLOOKUP, that is the true function. So that is Samson.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm not really clear about the true function.
Okay, for the VLOOKUP.
Yes. So can you remind me, please?
Yes, it's just about the approximate and exact match.
Okay.
Is
so I will need to like give ranges. Sorry, how does that work?
Say?
How does it work again?
Yes, you know,
okay.
We can look at a situation where people will be given some discount, certain percentage of discount.
Okay.
It based on the values. For instance, now in this your example now, we at the number of ADRs submitted. So submits 1 may be given. Sorry, we'll ask some questions to the chat, but we will attend to that. Let me just give this. So we can look at those number of ADR submitted and say, okay, whoever has 1 ADR should be given maybe 20%.
Okay.
Whoever that scores 5, that has 5, will be given 10%. Now, you know that there is no 2, 3, 4. We only if you score 1 or if you score 5. So somebody that now scored 2 can be seen, Excel will now give an approximate value because there's no exact value given to that number of ADR that he performed.
Okay.
Okay, so something like this now, okay? Then you can get, no, from here now, let's say 1, 2. Okay, this is in 5s, right? Good.
Yeah. But it's not linking to that. It's not linking to this cell at all.
No, no, no. It's a different thing. You are going to use a different, it's a table on its own right now.
Okay.
It's a table on its own right now. So this is a new table that you are creating, and then you are going to be looking for these values from this table.
Okay, sorry. Can we bench this? Maybe tomorrow I'll take this again when I'm clear on it.
It's okay. It's okay. No problem.
Okay, so sorry about everyone. So I think
there are some
I'll complete
questions
this
here.
one tomorrow. Okay.
Yetunde wants to ask if questions can be sent via mail or any other communication after the lecture, maybe during self-practice. Sure. The mail that you are receiving the messages regarding this training, you can send your message through there and then we will respond. Bala is suggesting that we should close by 10:30. Okay, sure, Bala.
Okay, it's 10:30 already. Okay.
All right, so thank you very much, Jenny. We would like to appreciate everyone for coming and most importantly, your patience while we try to resolve the hitches that we encountered at the beginning of the session. So we believe that tomorrow is going to be a better one. And we also believe that by tomorrow, you would have had time to look at those videos that we have shared. I think we have shared about 3 categories of videos. We talked about the pivot table, the if and if error values. We have shared that. We have also shared, which other one again? There are 3 of them. And we are planning to share another one on this VLOOKUP. Okay, so please, as you watch them and practice, we would like to get your feedbacks even before tomorrow's session. So thanks so much. Jenny, you have a final word for them for today?
So just thank you so much, everybody, for your time. I know this is quite maybe overwhelming for everybody, but I know that with time and practice, we'll be able to implement what we learned here today. So thank you so much, everybody, and hope to see you again tomorrow.
Please, as you watch through those videos, we keep releasing videos so that once you subscribe, you can get notification that something has been released and then you can access it. So thanks so much. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.